All right. So, welcome to the podcast, House Music Connection. In this episode, we're talking with Candice McKenzie. I think that, Candice, you could probably do a better job of introducing yourself than I can. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thank you, Tony. And thank you so much for having me on your podcast. So, I'm Candice McKenzie. I'm a DJ, a radio presenter. I'm also a podcast producer as well. And I've been DJing for 25 years. I officially started DJing in 1999. I think I probably learned a couple of years before that as like a bedroom DJ, but my first gig was in 1999. So yes, that's me in a nutshell.
Very cool. So let's see. When did you? How did you get your start DJing, or what made you want to start DJing?
Okay, so when I was 16, 17-ish, I used to work in a shoe shop. I had like a Saturday job in a shoe shop when I was in college. And one of my colleagues there, Simon, was a DJ who played trance. And what Simon would do is he would we had like, this is way back in the day, this is like the late 90s, so it was cassettes, right? And he would swap out the shop music on cassette and put in his own cassette. So it was like a four cassette system. So it would be like cassette 1 will be Clark's music, cassette 2 would be Clark's music, cassette 3 will be Simon's sneaky cassette that he put in, and cassette 4 would be Clark's music again. And I would listen to like the music he was playing, and I'd be like, well, how comes all the songs are kind of like mixed together, there's no gaps in them and stuff like that? And he was like, yeah, I mixed them on my decks. And I was like, oh, okay, what's that kind of thing? And he goes, yeah, I'll show you. So he actually showed me how to mix, and then he lent me his decks as well. And I used to just practice. And then also, an old school friend of mine called Tope, or known as Trevor Afro, Trevor is older than me by about 3 years. So I first came across Trevor Tope, when I was in year 8, which is when I was about 12, and he was in year 11. So he was about 15, 16. And there was like a school trip, and all of the different years went on this school trip to Spain, right? So that's where I first came across Tope. And then when I was in college, I had a friend called Audrey, and her older brother was friends with Tope, and that's how we got reacquainted, right? So I'm at this party, and Tope's like, oh, I'm thinking of selling my decks because I want to go to Ibiza and I don't have enough money. And I'm like, I'll buy them. So I bought these decks off him. So as well as learning how to mix via Simon, I also bought these decks as well, which I don't know if you can see, but one of them is, well, you probably can't see, but one of them is still here.
Okay.
The other one's in the other room, but one's here. So I've had them a long time. And so basically that all happened when I was 16, 17-ish, when I was in college. And that's basically the beginnings of my career.
That's cool. So has it been house music that whole time, or a wide variety of genres?
It's been a variety. So I first started with UK garage. So that was definitely my era. And yeah, definitely UK garage. I was into it before I was even into DJing. A friend of mine at school, Natasha, her mum used to go to the clubs. So her mum, I think she must have been in like her mid to late 30s when we were like 14-ish, 15. So her mum used to get like all the cassettes. I don't know how she did it, but she used to get like all the cassettes from like the recordings from the club. And then Natasha used to make me a copy. And Natasha, I was like deputy head girl in school. Natasha was a prefect, and our duties were to like mark the latecomers, but we never used to do that. We used to sit on reception and listen to garage music, basically. That's what we used to do. So that's how I really sort of got into garage and all of the songs and even like all of the DJs and the MCs and stuff like that. And then I started to buy vinyl as well, like garage vinyl. I had some vinyl. Garage definitely wasn't the first vinyl that I ever bought or ever owned, but I got into that as well, all around that same kind of 15, leaving school time, going into college time. But yeah, definitely UK garage. And then I had a teeny tiny little spell where I felt a bit kind of musically homeless because I didn't really like the way that garage was going. And I was playing a little bit of kind of like R&B kind of sounds, that kind of like early naughty sounds. But at the same time, I was trying to like rediscover like old house and garage, if that makes sense. So coming into it at like 15, 16, obviously there was like loads of music that came long before me. So I was kind of like doing my research and getting to know earlier tunes that came when I was more like 11, 12. Also, when I was quite young, I did used to listen to pirate stations and stuff, but I was young. I was like 11, 12. I never really understood or really knew what was going on. I just knew that there was these stations and they played cool music, like, and they played a whole variety. So I was into like hardcore, jungle, a little bit of drum and bass. So I like all of that stuff. I never DJ'd all of that music, but I do like all of that early house, rave, hardcore, jungle, drum and bass. I love all of that sound because I was listening to all of that sound when I was young. But I only got into like DJing and garage music. That's how I sort of really got into it when I was about 15, 16.
So you have won multiple years, or over multiple years, you won some BEFTA awards. Could you say a little bit about that?
So it's the Black Entertainment, Film, Fashion, Television and Arts, and even Sports they've added now to it, awards, right?
Okay.
And that, the first one I won, I think, was in 2009. So it was years ago. And that was for DJ of the Year. And then the second one was, no, the first one was for Female DJ of the Year. The second one was for DJ of the Year. So I was really surprised when I won the first one, Female DJ of the Year, because I remember getting this message on Facebook, and this lady was like, "We've been trying to get hold of you. You know that you've been nominated for an award." And I was like, "Oh, really?" Like, I just didn't even believe it, to be honest. But yes, I was nominated for this award. I don't know who nominated me, but whoever did it, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And not only did they nominate me, but I won. And what was really lovely about that is it was an award that was like listener or viewer voting. So people had to vote for me. And the fact that people did do that, I'm eternally grateful for.
Yeah.
So yes, I won Female DJ of the Year in 2009, and I won DJ of the Year in 2010.
Very cool. And so, that's just like kind of a highlight of your career over the years or whatever. What are some other highlights that you had as a DJ?
I would say one particular. Well, there's quite a few that stand out, but one of my favorite highlights was when I did a tour of Croatia for T-Mobile. I think this was like 2005, I think, and it was just very cool. Like it was quite a big deal back in those days to do that. And basically it was like a T-Mobile promotion. They just had like a DJ in the evening, right? So we played in like different places in Croatia. And I remember one of the places that I played was on the beach, and it was just a very cool party. And it was just a lot of fun. And to be flown out for like a week to just DJ was just absolutely amazing. Another one is playing at Club Coliseum in Macedonia. That playing there was always a highlight. It's a very cool club. The people are absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice people there. So they're definitely, I suppose, two of my favorite gigs, I suppose, that I've ever done. Yeah.
Very cool. So let's see. You've had I kind of know you from like your Soulful House, just kind of seeing your name around with Soulful House and inspirational or gospel house music. When did you has that always been a part of your repertoire, if you will, or has that been kind of a more recent shift in recent years? And how did you make that shift?
Okay, so it was back in 2011-ish, 2010, 2011. I just, at that time, I was playing soulful house, deep house, and like Afro house. And I was loving it. I was enjoying it. I was on a station called SS Radio at the time. And I did like a Saturday show and it was great. But something inside of me was always like, I kind of just want to play music that is like always just pushing good vibes. Like not saying that music I was playing wasn't, but I just always wanted to like push a good message. And there was always gospel and inspirational house music in my set, but I wasn't focused like predominantly on it. And then I just decided to make this change. One of the key songs that helped me do that was Stephanie Cook Better. Like I just remember playing it. I could actually visualize when I played it. Actually, I was still living in London at the time, and I was living in the first flat that I lived in when I moved out of my parents' house at the time. And I remember just playing this song in like, I had like a music room, I suppose, then, because I had a spare room. So I had like this music room. And I just remember playing this song and I just thought, this is the kind of vibes that I just want to play all the time. And I just made a decision to play gospel house, inspirational house, but I also like love songs as well. So I would not rule out any song that spoke about love. But basically it was gospel and inspirational house music. And that was 2011. And it was a really interesting period actually, because basically all my gigs stopped because people were like, we don't want to hear music about God in clubs. And so like, all my gigs stopped. And that was quite hard because I was quite busy at the time and all of my gigs just stopped. But it wasn't all bad because I then in 2013, I decided to do a college course in radio production. So even though I had done a lot of work in like on pirate radio and then on internet radio, I wanted to just do a official radio production kind of course and get that knowledge. So I did that. I did a college course. I can't remember how long it was for now, maybe about 3 months, and got qualified in that. And then it was around a year and a half after that. So I did that college course, I think in 2013. And then in 2015, I contacted Premier Gospel Radio because I was looking on their website. And at the time, it appeared that they didn't have any house music. I didn't know that the house music DJ had just left. But I just looked at their website and I was like, they have hip hop and R&B, they have jazz, they have African music, they don't have any house. So I sent them an email to that effect. I just said, you don't have any house music. I play house music kind of thing. And I was contacted, I think like the next day, and I was invited for an interview, which I went to, and I was offered the Sanctify Selection show on a Monday night, 9 p.m. And I've been doing that ever since. I think this year, October makes 9 years.
That's awesome. Very cool. And then did that kind of lead you towards getting because you were doing A&R for Quantize for a while. I guess when did that come about? Was that kind of like a result of that radio show?
No, so I have known Spen since DJ Spen since 2007 when I worked at Defected Records when I first met
Mm,
him. And when I left Defected Records, I went to work at Warner Music Stroke Atlantic Music, and I was still in contact with him. And I used to do a little bit of work for his former label, Code Red Recordings. So I
mm,
suppose, I don't think the term side hustle was coined then, but I suppose it was a side hustle. I was just doing just little bits of like marketing, I suppose.
mm,
Yeah, I suppose maybe early social media kind of thing back then. And then he started Quantize 2012, but I didn't join until officially until like 2018, 2019. And basically, I used to always, Spen used to do a show on Hands on Radio, and then he used to post it on to SoundCloud. And when I used to
mm,
listen to this song on this mix on SoundCloud, I would just ring him and I'd be like, "What's this tune? What's this tune? What's this tune?" kind of thing. And all the songs that I was asking for were always the ones that were either not quite finished, unreleased, demos had come in and stuff like that.
mm,
And then we were just having a conversation one day, and I think originally I did sort of say something on the lines of, "Oh, you should get me in to be like director of gospel or something." I came out with
mm,
some nonsense that I normally just come out with when I'm talking to Spen. And then he was like, "Well, we could use some help with our demos." And I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll be director of demos," kind of thing. Probably not really even realizing what I was getting myself into. But then, yeah, I joined the team and I was with Quantize from about 2018, 2019 until last year, um, because I've got kidney failure. So last year I was really
mm.
unwell with like pneumonia. I was in hospital, in and out of hospital for like 6 months. And there
Mm.
was just some things that I have to cut back on. And that was one of them.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess we're kind of transitioning into that, that kidney failure. That's been kind of a big curveball in your life for the last little while. I mean, your life literally depends on medicine and technology. How has that
Mm.
been going?
Now it's actually not going too bad, actually. I mean,
Okay.
so when I was first diagnosed with kidney disease, which was in 2019, um, it was kind of like I was told that my kidney function at that time was about 32%. And I
Mm,
suppose my main aim was trying to keep it at 32%, even though the nature of the kidney disease means that at some point the kidney was going to fail. But it
mm,
held on for like 2 years and then it started to decline. And I was
mm,
told that I needed dialysis. So I started dialysis in 2022 and I
mm,
was on like a home type of dialysis, which was interesting. It was meant to be convenient, more convenient, which I'm a bit 50-50 on that. I found it
mm,
actually to be quite inconvenient.
mm,
Um, and ultimately, as well, it just wasn't the best type of dialysis for me because
mm,
it kind of wasn't doing its job very well because I was retaining fluid and then the fluid accumulated on my lungs, which caused me to get pneumonia.
mm,
So in last year in March 2023, I was hospitalized because of pneumonia. I had to have an emergency like chest operation to drain off all this fluid, and it was very serious. I then
mm,
ended up in hospital, in and out of hospital. Well, I was an inpatient from I think it was March until June for about 3 months. And then I came out, but then I went back in, and then I came out, and then I went back in. So it was quite a tough time. But I have since switched to a type of dialysis called HD dialysis or hemodialysis, which I think most people know. It's the one that most people see, like with the machine cleans the blood and stuff like that. And that seems to be working a lot better for me. It was still a bit tough at first because the hospital that I was going to for this treatment was like a 45-minute drive away. And I was going, my appointment was like at 7 a.m. and it means I was up at like 5 and leaving at 6. And it was quite tough, you know. And then I come home and I work. So I produce podcasts for a company, and I still had a job to do. And I still have my radio work to do and just lots of other bits and bobs. And it was quite tough. But in recent times, since the beginning of this year, I've been going to a hospital that is literally like a 5-minute drive up the road. So that makes life a lot easier. And my appointment is at midday. So that also just means that I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn, and I can get like a good night rest and stuff like that. So it's going very well now. I'm so grateful for the fact that there is a treatment option, because without dialysis, basically, I would not survive. So I'm really grateful for the fact that there is dialysis. And I just hope that I suppose like my main aim is the way that I live my life. I want people to see that just because, you know, you might have kidney failure or there may be something wrong, it doesn't mean that you can't actually live a fulfilling life and thrive in life, because you actually can.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, how has music been kind of a through line during that whole period?
I mean, music has always got me through good times and bad times, kind of thing. Like music is just, I know it's the same for like a lot of people, but music, it just gets me through day to day, really.
Yeah.
And I suppose because I always play the gospel house and inspirational house music, I'm already like surrounded by the positive vibes. So I don't know. It's not like I've really dwelled on any negatives when
Yeah.
dealing with kidney failure. I mean, I'm not saying it's been easy, because it hasn't. There was a period when I suppose you could say I was in a bit of denial, because I didn't want to do dialysis, because I felt like my body had failed me if I accept that I need dialysis. That's how I felt. So there was a period where it wasn't like there was any depression or anything, but I just was in denial and I didn't want to do that. And I had to have counseling for that, which I'm very grateful for. And that really, really helped. But things like listening to the gospel house music and inspirational house music, just, I think because I've been surrounded by it for so long, it's like second nature to me. But if I think about it from somebody else, because I get messages all the time from people who are like, oh, I listened to your show, or I listened to your mix and you played this song and it really, really helped me and stuff like that. And I suppose that's my job, right? To be a messenger and to like just carry the message forward. And when I hear that from people, it just like fills my heart with joy, just knowing that they were comforted or encouraged by hearing the song that was made by like a incredible singer or a great producer, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the music has always just helped, but it's always been there, which is just awesome. And I even wrote my own song and performed it as well, even though I can't sing, but I can do spoken word. So I released a song in 2022 with an awesome producer from South Africa. His name is Davrizan, and
Mm-hmm.
we released a song together. It's called His Promise. And I
Mm-hmm.
basically wrote the song because it was a reminder that his promise is greater than the problem. And so, yes, I released that song in 2022. And people, I've had people come up to me. I did a gig a couple of weeks ago, and somebody came up to me at the gig. It was a local gig as well. So I live in Margate, by the sea here in the UK. And I just never expected anyone to ever come up to me in Margate and say, I like your song. But this guy did. And I was just so surprised by that and taken aback by that. He was like, your song's awesome. Like, I really love the lyrics. And I've had people who told me that, which again is just great because I did that for myself, really. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that it's gone on to bless other people is just like the biggest blessing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I do have that track, and I put it on one of my Refuel Your Soul mixes. So,
Oh,
yeah,
thank
I
you so
love that
much.
track. Yeah, it's a great track. And that also
Thank
goes
you.
to show that even if you don't think you can sing or produce or whatever, you can find a way to make something happen for yourself, or make know release a song and put some of your message out there. So, and you do that all a lot through DJing anyway, through, like you were saying, like just your selection of tracks and spreading that message through your
Mm.
mixes or whatnot. So yeah, that's awesome. So let's see. I read somewhere that you judged for the Eurovision Song Contest one year. When
I
was that?
did. That was
Yeah.
2014.
Yeah.
So, again, that was one of those things that I got an email and I didn't think it was true. So I got this email from the BBC and they were like, oh, we would like to invite you to be a judge on the Eurovision Song Contest. And I was like, no, this
Mm-hmm.
can't be true. But anyways, I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it, kind of thing. And I really did not believe that it was true until, and like I explained before, I do podcasts for a company. At that time, I wasn't doing their podcasts, I was doing their events, but I was sitting at my desk and I think it was an email that had the link to the BBC website, like the news website, and it basically announced the Eurovision and the judges. And I'm sitting there thinking, I haven't told my boss this, and this thing is now on like on like the BBC news page. What am I going to do? Kind of thing. So I
Yeah.
went into my director's office, the director at the time, because I thought, okay, the director really likes me, so I think I can kind of sweet talk him first because I hadn't told anybody that I was doing this. And he was cool with it. So then I went and told my managers as well. And yeah, I judged the Eurovision. That was a really cool experience, actually. It was a lot different to what I thought it would be. How they did it that year, because I know it's changed in recent years, is that we judge the like the rehearsal. So the main points that the different countries give each other is done on the day, but the judges' point was done in advance. So we had to go in advance twice and watch like the performances twice, I suppose, like the rehearsals, and then we judged them, and then the country's voting was done on the day, like on the live show, and it was an experience, and I'm really pleased and happy to have done it.
Yeah. Sounds like a really cool experience. So let's see. Uh, Aside from the health challenges that you've mentioned, what have been some of the biggest challenges in your music career that you've, I guess, and some of the lessons learned or big takeaways that you've had from those challenges?
Hmm. Um, that's a good question. I think challenges, which is probably one that I'm sure many female artists, DJs might raise is just the whole. It's still like very much a boys' club. Still very much a boys' club, and even like comments like, "Oh, you're a good DJ for a girl," and stuff like that, or yeah, they're the ones that I'm not really keen on. Oh, you're a good DJ for a girl. Also, yeah, like I said before, it does still appear to be quite a boys club, and I love when there are like female promoters and they do female nights and all of that good stuff, but I don't see why there should be that. A DJ is a DJ. I've been saying this since the beginning of my career. The power of a DJ is in their skill, not their sex. And I love playing for the like all female lineups, and I've played for some really great ones. Like I played for one called Queens, which is a really great party, and I really support all of those DJs. I think they're fantastic. But at the same time, as much as they do their party, and I think it's awesome, I don't see why they should have to do their female only party. I don't see why these girls are not just on lineups anyway, because they're great. And it's things like that. And as much as I love DJing, for a few years now, I've just not been in it to win it. I just don't even want to be in it to win it. If somebody wants me to DJ and it feels right, the gig looks good, everything's right, I'll do it. But other than that, I've got too much going on in my life. Everything else keeps me busy. I'm not like chasing the gigs anymore. It's not for me. And it's a shame because DJing is my first love. And without DJing, I wouldn't have gone on to do all the things that I've done. But I'm just not going to do that anymore. Because it's just a shame, really.
Yeah. So let's see, changing gears a little bit. So when you were working for Quantize, I guess what would be some of your tips for artists who are looking to get signed with Quantize? What does the A&R perspective look like? Or I guess from that perspective, what would be your advice?
Well, not just for Quantize, but for any label, really. Firstly, adhere by the instructions that the label sets. So if, for example, a label says, please send demos to a particular email address, please don't send them to the person's private Instagram account, or send it to the account's email. Like that's just not cool. And that's not what we've asked for. And sometimes, you might be lucky and your email may get forwarded, but most of the times they don't, they get deleted. Also just things like if a label says, can you please send links and not attachments? Can you please send links and not attachments? Because attachments just clog up the emails, and emails again will need to get deleted. And it's just, just basically follow the instructions. They're like the real main two. When I was doing A&R, I suppose they were like my main gripes, because it's just really that just made things difficult if people didn't adhere by the instructions. Also, I do fully understand and appreciate like people's work is like, like it could be like their baby, like it's like, oh, it's my tune and I'm really passionate about it. I get all of that. But also just respect. And this is, I suppose, more, I don't know if it's different in major labels. I've not done A&R for a major label. I've done it for an independent label. But, we are all people with lives. So, we've got other commitments, maybe family, and just other things going on. So, just respect that as well. we're not available 24/7. Again, it's the whole kind of, there was time, the reason why I say things like that is because multiple times I would get an email from an artist and I would know I've got the email because it's popped up on my phone. But it could be out of hours, right? So I'm not gonna answer it at that time. But then I would get a Facebook message to say that they've sent the email. And then I won't respond to the Facebook message.
Yeah.
And then I'll get an Instagram message. Did you see my message? Like, yeah, I did. I did. Don't do that.
Yeah. Just stay within the system. Like the labels, I mean, at some point if they're big enough, they have a system for doing their demo listening process and their signing process and whatnot. So yeah, I think it's good to stay within the system that they've set up for
and stay within the guidelines. Like, labels get hundreds of demos, and it takes a while to go through them. And yeah, so I just artists, I think, should just appreciate that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, as far as like a sound quality, I mean, did you ever receive demos from artists where the demo, like the style of music wasn't even close to like quantized, or was just like it was off at all? I mean, it wasn't like a good match for the sound?
No, not. I never received any demos where like the sound quality was poor. I've received demos where it wasn't the quantized style, but I think all labels receive that.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's another point, actually, like to do your research. A lot of artists, you could tell that they had just kind of blanket emailed the label.
Yeah.
So again, just kind of like do your research. It's not an issue to kind of send one type of tune that you do to one label and then send another tune that you do to another label. That's totally cool. Like, I even recommend it. You don't always just have to release on one label. Like, just you can go to multiple labels. But yeah, I never received anything out of the ordinary, but a couple of times there was music that wasn't suitable for any of the quantized labels. And they could have gone to another label. And again, this is the thing with I suppose, like with time, what I was trying to explain before as well. I received so many demos, but I would try to help the artist if I could. So, for example, if they sent a song and it most definitely wasn't suitable for quantize, but it might be suitable for like Tool Room, for example, I don't know, another label, I would suggest that but if I'm dealing with, if I've opened my inbox and I've got to deal with 150 demos, I may not have the time to just do that with everybody. And that's always a shame. But that's why I say the artists could also help themselves. And I suppose another thing as well, and this could just be me, but I always found it odd when somebody would just send a demo and they just sent the demo. They didn't send a cover email or anything. They literally just sent the demo. To me, that's not a good impression. That I found that totally odd.
Yeah, that does seem a little odd. At least have some kind of intro about,
like, hi,
in some way.
Hi, my name is, here's my demo, thank you so much. Like, it's just 3 or 4 lines. Like, some people just didn't do that, and I find that really weird.
Yeah, that is a little interesting. So you worked for Defected. What did you do for Defected when you worked there?
So when I worked at Defected, I started off as PA to Simon Dunmore, and then I moved into the events department.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about running events, and how does that, I don't know, do you feel like there's some similarities to doing A&R at all, or is it completely different?
I would say one of the main similarities is that you just need to be really organized.
Mm,
But I would say it's completely different.
mm,
Um, I have always organized. I've always organized at some point in my career. I've either organized myself as a
mm,
DJ and doing gigs and traveling. I've worked for people where um, I've organized them like directors. I've organized artists for a couple of years from 2018 to 2020. I worked with, was that right? 2018? Yeah, to end of 2019, 2020. I worked for a couple of singers where I basically organized them. And I've organized events all throughout my career, really.
So what does it mean
Um,
to organize a singer or an artist?
well, so for example, in 2018, I worked with Janice Robinson, who is the singer of Dreamer by
Mm,
Living Joy. And I basically was like her assistant.
mm,
Anything she needed help with, I helped her. That particular year, she did X Factor, and she was touring quite a bit as well. And she had some gigs in the UK. Like one of the big ones was like History she did, and she did a couple of other really big gigs as well. And basically I had access to her diary, I had access to her emails, like her bookings would come in, I would like coordinate them, help her book them.
mm,
I think organizing is, I think everybody's given a gift, right?
mhm.
And I think organizing is that gift. I think people are given even more than one gift.
Yeah.
But I think people are given that gift that you can literally do in your sleep.
Mhm,
And I believe that organizing is the gift that I can do in my sleep. Logistics
mm,
is something that not many people can challenge me on. Like I'm very good at organizing, especially when it comes to logistics. And I
mm,
sort of thrive on organizing people's lives and diaries and
mm,
things like that. Very good at stuff like that. So spending that time with Janice, especially, just help organizing her and her life was fun. And then at that particular period as well, it was like combined, I suppose, with a bit of tour managing, because when she was in the UK, I would be with her and I'll be looking
mm.
after her on the day as well. And that was very cool. That was a really cool period of time.
Yeah. Sounds like it. That's awesome. So let's see. What would be your central message for house music artists and fans, as far as like, what is the main takeaway that you want to leave listeners with from Candice McKenzie's point of view?
To take a line from one of my favorite songs, follow your heart, reach for your
Mm,
goals, and live for your dreams.
mm,
I truly believe that.
mm,
And actually, that song, Follow Your Heart, which is by Kevin Hedge and Rick Galatic, which was released, I think, in 2012, really, really changed my life as well. Quite a
mm,
few songs changed my life, but that one did, because it just made me realize that you do need to like follow your heart and you do need to reach for your goals and your dreams like all the
mm,
time. Like your goals and your dreams are valid even when people don't think they are, or
mm,
they don't see it. The vision wasn't given to you.
mm,
The vision wasn't given to them. The vision was given to you.
mm,
And it's okay if somebody doesn't understand it. And that somebody might even be your own parents or your friends. That's cool. The vision wasn't given to them, it was
mm,
given to you. And you should always follow your heart and your dreams, because there's been times when I haven't done that
mm,
and I've not been happy. Like
mm,
I've even with like DJing, when I like when I first bought those decks, which I spoke about earlier, and I brought them home, bearing in mind I was 16, 17 at the time. My dad said, absolutely not. You are not going to be a DJ. And he took them and put them in the garden. And yeah, he put them in the garden and it rained on the decks.
Oh no.
So it's kind of like, so I kind of got, as much as I was still DJing, as in like, just playing the music at home and stuff like that, I also went and got like a normal job. I think one of the first jobs that I got was I worked in a printers. But actually, I suppose even when you kind of go off, you kind of don't go off, because I worked in this printing company, which was really local to where I grew up. And I remember being there and getting my first international DJ gig, which was in Germany. Again, it was one of those ones where I got this email and I just didn't believe that. Why would someone want to book me? But they did, and it was great. It was great. I had a great time at that gig. But being at this job, this local job in the printers, was where I first discovered my love and my gift for organizing, because I was asked to organize an event for they bought this new printer called the Heidelberg, and it was like a big deal in the printing world. And they asked me to organize this kind of event for them. And apparently I did really well at it. And so when I decided to move on from that company, I then decided to get an event job. So, and that's how my event career, I suppose, took off. So it's kind of like, even when you go off, I suppose you kind of never really go off. You always find your way back, or find a way back. But if you have some desire in your heart, you should find a way to do it, for sure. So even like with His Promise, when I wrote His Promise, I had written down in my book of life, which is basically a book that I have where I write down all my dreams and goals. I had written down that I would like to release music on Traxsource. It was just a goal. I didn't know how I was going to do that. I'm not a producer and I'm not a singer, but it was a goal, and the goal happened. The dream happened. So you should always just follow your heart. That's what I would say.
It. That's awesome. Okay. I guess you've kind of like alluded to this a little bit, but how has your faith impacted your DJ career and your journey with house music?
I think maybe the question that I'm probably going to end up answering is more like, how has the music impacted my faith?
Oh, okay.
And the reason why I say that is because house music is a bit of a sticky one when it comes to like the church. Basically, I've been told things like house music is the devil music, and lots of other negative things about house music, even though I'm literally playing a gospel house song and the singer is singing about Jesus. Yeah. So I just don't get that at all. But I've had some real bad things said about house music. But the thing is that I've always loved house and garage music. So when, house and garage music or gospel music with a house and garage beat is just like the best thing in the world for me, kind of thing. And it's something that I've just always pushed through, regardless of what people have said. And I suppose, again, that leads back to the whole, when I say follow your heart and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not really, I feel like sometimes in certain circles, it's not even taken seriously, even though I am pushing a message. And I think it's just, the way certain people view things. Whereas I've had other people say to me, like, I remember going to see Kim Mazel in concert, and she said to me, you need to just don't stop your ministry. What you're doing is a form of ministry, which it is. And I remember when I was first interviewed by Premier Gospel, and the station director, Muyua, asked me, like, why do I play this style of music? And I said to him, and I still stand it by to this day, I said, because, I always want to kind of like promote Jesus, and people will be in the club and they'll just be dancing and vibing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will play a song, either a gospel house song or even an inspirational house song. And they'll just be vibing along and enjoying it, and probably not even realizing that they're praising God, or like it's a form of praise. And I just think that that is very beautiful. And also, like, one of the main reasons why I play inspirational house music, and I love them both equally, but if I had to pick one, I would probably pick inspirational house music over gospel house music.
Mm-hmm.
And this is because I'm a person that I feel that sometimes people, and I suppose I'm going to use my own experience here, in tough times, I've been told, like, oh, just pray about it, or what does it say in the Bible and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, I know that. Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need someone to say, you can make it, or
Mm-hmm.
you can do it. Don't give up.
Right.
And that's why I push inspirational house music.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time as well, when people have sent me a message, it is to say, you played this song and I was really, really down and it helped me, or I was struggling with my exams, or something was going on in their life, and just hearing that inspirational song helped them. So I don't think I even answered your question.
No, that's good. I love it.
but yeah, I just feel like at times it's been, not with my faith. My faith has been is been fine, but I suppose with maybe how people see what I'm doing, they don't think it's a good thing that I'm of the world, as some people call it,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And I don't really know what to say to that, really, because
Yeah.
it's I feel like it's my calling to encourage people,
Right.
and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And there's so many things that are like, I don't know, that could be considered of the world, that it's not just music. It's just, I mean, I don't know. There's just so much. If you take something too far, like if you took anything too far, like, I mean, if you are so, if all you do is pray, like you never actually do any work, or you never actually do anything, for good. It's just, if you're so heavenly bound that you're no earthly good, that's not a good thing, So, I mean, if you take something to the extreme, anything can be taken to the extreme in a bad way, and it just have it not be good for you or good for anybody. So, yeah.
100%. And something you just said there as well, like with having kidney failure, right? So I've always had a relationship with God, but having kidney failure, that's when I really knew what faith was about. And
Mm,
I find it really interesting because for me, like, sometimes I feel like people speak faith, but they don't have it. And
mm,
what I mean by that is they will say, like, something on the lines of, oh, you have to believe God for a miracle, right? The miracle is the fact that I wake up every day, that
mm,
I have kidney failure, and I'm sitting here doing this interview with you, that I have kidney failure, but I know I don't look like I'm sick, that I have kidney failure and I go about my day every day and live a life, and I'm still thriving in everything that I do. I'm super
mm,
busy. I'm enjoying life. Like, that is the miracle.
mm,
And I don't know. I just feel like I've just seen a real difference in people who, because I have, like, because the doctor's report says kidney failure, it's like, oh, well, you have this illness, and we just have to again, like pray about it and hope for the miracle and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's already happened. Like the fact that I'm still alive talking to you is the biggest miracle, is the biggest blessing, kind of thing. And just, I don't know, I just feel like I've really seen a difference in what true faith is since having kidney failure. Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely glad that you're here on this call with me and having this interview, and that's awesome. And I appreciate all of the light and positivity and inspiration that you bring through your sets and through your music. Yeah, I'm just really grateful that we've been able to have this conversation.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And if I could just give a quick plug.
Oh, sure.
Two plugs, actually. So for all of my music work and DJing and radio work, you can find me on my website, which is www.candiceMcKenzie.com.
Okay.
And all of my social links are there. But I also have another website. I have a community interest company, which is called the African Caribbean Kidney Education Enterprise, ACI for short. And basically, I set up this community interest company because I wanted to highlight kidney disease, basically, especially in the Black communities. I felt like I was a bit blindsided with when I got diagnosed with kidney disease. It perhaps could have been prevented. There were some warning signs which were there, but they weren't acted upon, if that makes sense. So, like, for example, I was told that I had high blood pressure. And whenever I kind of said, okay, well, what are we going to do about the high blood pressure? Like, nothing was done, because I suppose when I was first told my blood pressure was high, I was in my late 20s, early 30s, and that's kind of unusual. But the fact that it was unusual, perhaps something should have been done about it, but it wasn't. And just some other symptoms as well. So my mission is to basically highlight and shine a light on kidney disease within the Black community, and for everybody. But the reason why I say the Black community is because Black people are 4 times more likely to get kidney disease than other groups. So that's why. And also because I speak on my experience.
Right.
So yeah, I set up the community interest company to do that, to encourage people of the Black African Caribbean communities to look after their kidneys in life. There's so many things that you could be doing unknowingly that could be damaging your kidneys. For example, taking over-the-counter medicines like ibuprofen doesn't help. It's not good. If you're a smoker, that's not good for your kidneys as well. So there's just little changes that you could make that could help your kidney function, even like having too much salt in the diet and stuff like that. And then the other side of it is also to encourage people of the Black communities to consider deceased kidney donation. So basically, our main aim is to encourage you to look after your kidneys in life and then consider donating them in death, because once you pass away, you can't use your kidneys, but somebody could benefit from them. I know that there's some great organizations who champion living donation, which I'm not against. It's just that I will not sort of, how can I say it? Like I even struggle with the thought of living donation, being totally honest with you. Like, because how I look at it is that, okay, even myself, I need a kidney, but it's not like I'm just asking to borrow your car. It's like, it's just not like that, right? It's a bit more than that. I'm not just knocking on your door and asking to borrow a cup of sugar. Like, it's a real big deal.
Yeah.
And it's a major, major operation.
Mm.
And it's a lot. And it's a real sacrifice as well for
Mm-hmm.
someone to do that. And even I struggle with the thought of that, and I need a kidney.
Mm.
However, deceased donation, once you pass away, you're not in need of your kidney anymore, and somebody could benefit from that. And that's why we champion deceased donation at the African Caribbean Kidney Education Enterprise.
I'll be sure to include those links down in the show notes and the description of the YouTube page. So,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me in this, for this conversation. It's been a joy and a blessing, and I do appreciate you and all that you're doing for music and for your other pursuits and for kidney awareness as well. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Hey, friend, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. As producers today, it can be really overwhelming to keep up with all the tasks that we need to complete. So I've created a free toolkit that can help you. Call it my release roadmap. This tool helps you to gain clarity on all of your tasks related to music production, demos, releases, and social media so that you can spend more mental energy on making music. Learn more about this free roadmap by visiting tonyfuel.com/roadmap or click the link in the description below. Again, that link is tonyfuel.com/roadmap. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.